the geekier, the better. Hello everyone, welcome to After Action Report, your numbers recap show for all Schmana matches to keep you caught up on all the action. I am your host Megs, here for the Call to Action podcast channel. Today we're going to be continuing our classified edition high point series of videos. This week we are concentrating on the Innergeekdom division. Again, to recap what we're going to be doing, we're going to be taking a look first at the times in history when the high point record was set and subsequently broken inside of this division. Then we're going to take a look back at this past season and highlight other matches that were of note statistically or were very important matches inside of the season. Let's jump right into the 3-round match format. We're going to be looking at starting in Season 4. Again, this is when we established the current scoring system for the IG division with the Round 1, Round 2 number of questions, as well as the point system inside of Round 3. So anything previous to that, I am not going to count because, again, we have different potential points, as well as also I'm not going to be highlighting times when the sudden death came into play with the matches. Again, it plays around with the potential points, and we're going to keep this nice and clean. We're going to start here in Season 4. Again, as I said, we're going to start with the first match, which is Jason Inman against Emma Fyfe. That was a 17-9 match. It was a number 1 contender qualifier to get into a 4-way match, and that match did end in a TKO. Moving into Season 5, we jump into the first round of the tournament that season. We saw Rachel Cushing set a new record with a score of 20-5, which was a KO end for the match. Inside of that same tournament, we saw the record broken again. Mike Kalinowski breaks it against Adam Palavik, which both of them broke the current record. Mike Kalinowski coming out on top with a 23-21. And I will note that this is the same tournament in the other semifinal where Rachel Cushing faced off against Mara Konopik, and we saw the 23-24 match, which was the result of 11 questions deep into sudden death. That was a very memorable match, but again, sudden death came into play, so it is not included in this breakdown. We're going to move into Season 6, where we have another memorable match with the Collision 3, Mike Kalinowski against Kevin Smets in the Don't Tell Peter moment that ended the match. The final score there was 26-21. So again, we're seeing a 3-point incremental increase in the high point score here, and it gets broken again in the same season. Kevin Smets setting it this time, going up against Chandra Dagapani in a number 1 contender match. That final score was 28-24. Now, we did not see any new high point scores in the 2020 season, but if we move into Season 8, or this past year, we saw 2 instances where the record was broken. The first one was Chandru facing off against Robert Parker in another number 1 contender match. This was a 29-28 match, and this was also a pretty impressive match overall because the overall accuracy inside this match was 94%. So both competitors pitching over 90% accuracy inside that match, but Chandra just able to inch away with a 1-point difference to take that match. We move into the final one here in the 3-round matches with the most recent breaking of the high point record. It was Moose Haas facing off against Amaru Moses. Amaru Moses set the record with 30-26. This was also the match where we had the sound go out, and Christian and Mark Ellis had to do color commentary over top of the match that did not include any audio. So if you remember what that match was, it was a very entertaining one to watch in that it was a little different than what we were used to. But again, that is the most recent high score record. And to remind you, I have noted up there at the top, the most potential points that you can get in a 3-round match is 31. And then if you include possible steal opportunities to still push you to your 5-point and the most potential points, 33 is the max score that you can get inside of a 3-round match. So let's go ahead and move into the 5-round matches. We'll start off with the buzzer round format, again starting in Season 4. We saw the record set with Hector Navarro facing off against Jason Inman. Inman set the new record or the benchmark, I should say, at 24 against Navarro's 23. This record was broken the next season in season 5 with Mike Kalinowski facing off against Mark Knopik in a tournament final. That was a 23-25 match. And they did meet again for the title at Spectacular, but that match did go 4 questions deep into sudden death. So again, it is not included. Now, I am going to break my own rules a little bit here, because here in season 6, we see that Mike Kalinowski faces off against Rachel Cushing in a title match. It does go 1 question deep into sudden death, so technically it does not apply here, but we see that their final score was 30-31, and that does break any previous records that we see set inside of this buzzer format. So it's not official, but I am making note of it. It's only 1 question into sudden death, so we only have 1 additional point there, which would have brought it down to 30-29, which does still break the record that's going to be set here later on as I make note. So unofficially, that is the high score, in my opinion. But officially, if we're going by my rules, the next time we see that the 25 point be broken was, again, Rachel Cushing facing off against Mike Kalinowski. This was the title match that was live in San Diego. That final score was 25-26. And then we see the Spectacular 4 title match with Mike Kalinowski facing off against Kevin Smets. That was a 18-29 victory that was won via KO. So if we follow my strict rules of no sudden death, 29 is the current high score in the buzzer round format. If you are okay fudging a little bit, saying 1 question in sudden death doesn't change things enough, 31 is the high score there. So, and again, to highlight, in the buzzer round, you have 39 potential points. That does not account for steals. I have not done those calculations yet, but if you're looking to the baseline, how many potential points are available to a competitor, regardless of steal opportunities, it is 39 points. Now let's move into the 5-round match format with fast money, which was only used in the 2020 and this past season so far. We look at the first match. It was the tournament final of Kalinowski against Chance Ellison. That was a 30-33 match. This record was broken by Kevin Smets and Chandru facing off for the title. Chandru coming away with 35 to Smets' 33. We don't see the record broken again until we reach the beginning of this past season, when Chandru faced off against Mark Knopik for the title, and that was a final score of 36-38. And again, to give you perspective, the most potential points that you can get in the fast money round is 44 points. So now that we've taken a look at Innergeekdom's history with high scores, let's take a look at some matches of note from this past season. Now, the only 1 specific match that I wanted to specifically highlight was Brandon Hanna against Eric Zipper. Now, why do I want to highlight this one? It went 9 questions deep into sudden death, just 2 questions shy of the Rachel Cushing and Mark Knopik match that I discussed earlier. It went 9 questions deep into sudden death, and Brandon Hanna coming back from a 6-point deficit going into the 3rd round to force sudden death. It was a defensive struggle the entire match. So statistically, I found this one to be rather significant just because of the back and forth that it took and the drastic swings that we saw just inside the 3-round match format. And it's pretty exciting to see a match go that many questions deep into sudden death. Now, other matches of note, I'm looking more specifically at historic runs here in the Innergeekdom division. There were a lot of really good matches inside of this division, but something I want to highlight for Robert Parker, 3 out of 7 of his matches were 100% accuracy and 100% potential points earned. The first match in that run, he starts off the season with a commanding TKO win against Brandon Hanna. Then we go into a number one contender qualifying match where he beats Chance Ellison, who knocked him out of the tournament last season with a 26-23 match. Then we see the first round of the tournament where he has another 100% accuracy, 100% potential points earned with a round one tournament against Jesse Swift. Again, that one was a result in a TKO, as were all of the matches inside of the official Schmoedown tournament. All of the victories inside of the tournament were TKO victories, and then Parker comes away with a KO victory over Saul in the tournament final. And this victory over Jesse Swift is coming off the heels of Parker losing a number one contender match to Chandru, but he still was able to score a 94% accuracy in that match. So comes off of a loss with still an impressive 94% and kicks off a tournament of TKOs. And we see that Parker has his first 4 matches being over 90% accuracy. Pretty impressive when you think about how competitive the IG division is. And I will make of note here, just statistically overall, Parker has tied Saul's record of 4 TKOs and KOs inside of a season. Parker having 3 TKOs and 1 KO, and Saul having 2 TKOs and 2 KOs. This still is 1 short of Kevin Smet's record of 5 in a season with 1 TKO and 4 KOs. Overall, in his career, Parker does have 5 overall. He had 1 TKO in his inaugural season, which brings him up to 4 TKOs and 1 KO total inside of his career. Moving over into Mike Kalinowski, who is having a banner year inside the IG division and is the first one to ever defend the title more than once. He now sits at 3 title defenses. He first claimed the title against Mara Konopik. That was in the fast money round system with a 33-32 final score. He first defends it against Chandru at the Cantina with the buzzer rounds. 29-26 was the final score there. He defends again against Amaru Moses with, again, the buzzer rounds at the Cantina. 28-25 was the final score there. And then his latest defense was at Spectacular, live at the Globe Theater with the buzzer round against Robert Parker, 30-29 being the final score. And this match did go 6 questions deep into sudden death. So do you think I missed any matches from this past season? Be sure to leave them down in the comments. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode. But don't worry, I'm going to be back next week, and we're going to be tackling the singles division. It is the last division for us to talk about, and there is going to be a lot to talk about. If you haven't already, please make sure that you like this video, leave a comment, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and that you have your notification bell selected so that you're made aware every time we drop new videos on this channel. Be sure to also check out all the other videos we have here on this channel, as well as the shows we do over on our Twitch channel. The link to this episode, as well as all the graphics that I present during this episode, will be posted on Facebook through the Call to Action Podcast page, as well as on the NTS Facebook page, and on the Twitter page for the Call to Action Podcast crew. And for the entire crew here, I'm your host, Megs, and this is After Action Report, signing off.